This is how to play Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. This is one of Nirvana's most iconic songs and probably one of the most well-known riffs ever. For the main riff, we're going to start out with a first fret power chord on the E string. We got 1 on the E, 3 on A, and 3 on D. Strummed down, up, down. Then we're going to have 4 muted strums. We're going to lightly rest your fretting hand on the strings like this. Down, up, down, up. It's just a little percussive noise. Then we're going to take our initial power chord and move it to the A string. So we're on the first fret A string power chord, and we're just going to go down, down. And then we're going to pick that chord up and hit those same strings open. While you're doing that, you're going to be moving your hand over to the 4th fret position. We're going to be doing a 4th fret power chord on the E string. Down, up, down. 4 more muted strums. And we're going to shift our power chord again to the 4th fret of the A string. Down twice. And hit those strings open. All together, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Walk This Way by Aerosmith. This is definitely one of their most iconic guitar riffs, and it's super fun to play. We are going to start off on the A string. You're going to hit the frets 0, 1, 2. And then you're going to grab 2nd fret on the D string. And then you're going to do that pattern one more time, followed by the open E string. Then we're going to repeat that same pattern another 2 times, followed by a pull off on the E string from 3 to 0. And then grab that 2nd fret D string again. Every other time you play the riff, instead of doing that pull off section at the end, you're just going to hit an open A string power chord. That's our whole main riff, and all together it'll sound like this. This is how to play Everlong by Foo Fighters. We are going to be in drop D tuning for this track, and for the main riff, we're going to start out on the 9th fret of the A string and the 11th fret of the D string. Every measure in this riff is going to contain just 8th notes, which means we're going to have 8 strums per measure, all going to be downstrokes. And for the first measure, you're going to accent the 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 8th strum. For the second measure, you're just going to accent the 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 7th strums. For the next 2 measures, you're going to do the exact same strumming pattern, but with your index finger, you're going to grab the 9th fret on the E string. So you're going to be holding down with your index on the E and the A string this time. Slide it down so we're on the 5th and 7th fret. Accent the strums 3 and 7. Slide that on up to the 9th fret, accenting the same strums. Repeat that measure one more time, and the whole riff is going to repeat from there. All together, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria. We are going to be in E flat standard tuning for this one, and we're going to start with just the open E string. And then we're going to do a rake, which is kind of like a sweep pick. Just going to hold down 7th fret on the A string and 9th fret on the D string. While palm muting, you're just going to pick E, A, D in one strum. Right after the rake, you're going to grab the 10th fret of the D string, hit that with an upstroke, and then 7th fret on the G with a little bit of vibrato. Then on the D string, we're going to hit 10, 9, 7, 7, 10, 9, 7, and then 10, 9 on the A string. For the second measure, it's going to start out almost exactly the same. And then we're going to add in some dyad chords. First one is going to be a major 3rd. So you're going to have 5 on A, 4 on D. Then we're going to have 9 on A, 7 on D. This is going to be a minor dyad. Move that one down 2 frets. And then back to our major dyad. All together, it'll sound like this. This is how to play The Unforgiven by Metallica. This is one of the most beloved songs off of the Black Album, and it was so good it got 2 sequels. For the main riff of the song, we're going to start off with your 12th fret on the D string. We're going to hit 12, 10, 9, and with each of those, we're also going to be hitting the open A string. Then we're going to hit that 9th fret on the D string again along with the open A, but we're going to do a quick hammer on to 10 and then pull off to 9, followed by the 10th fret A string along with the open E string. Then we're just going to palm mute that open E string 2 times, followed by the 12th fret of the G string twice to the 11th fret twice, also with that open D string. Then we're going to go back to that 10th fret of the D string along with the open A string, hit that one twice. And then 2 more palm muted open A strings, followed by the 12th fret of the D string with that open A again. And then the riff is going to loop around from there. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Battery by Metallica. Battery is one of their most challenging songs, and it's actually not all downpicked. For the main riff, we're going to start out on the 7th fret of the A string and the 5th fret of the D string. This is going to be a minor third interval, and you can kind of think of the shape like an upside down power chord. Then we're going to have a palm muted galloping section where we're going to go down, up, down on the E string, followed by the E string power chords 6, 6, 5. For the second measure, we're going to start with another palm muted open E string section. We're going to go down, down, up, down. Back to our 7th fret minor third shape on the A string. Hit that one 2 times. Then we're going to move that down to the 5th fret A string and the 4th fret D string. This is a major third shape. Back into that 7th fret A string shape for the third measure, which is exactly the same as the first measure. For our 4th measure, we're going to hit the palm muted open E string followed by a 2nd fret power chord, 2 3rd fret power chords with a palm muted E string in between, 4th fret power chord. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Dragula by Rob Zombie. We are going to be in drop C tuning for this one, and we're going to start the intro all the way up on the 17th fret of the A string. You're going to grab that one with your index finger, and then you're going to grab the 19 on the G with your ring finger. You're going to mute the D string in between just by lightly touching it with your index finger. Then you're going to strum that chord 4 times. And you're going to grab the 20th fret on the G string with your pinky and hit it 3 times. For the second measure of the riff, we're going to do the exact same thing, but you're just not going to switch to the 20th fret. For the chorus riff, we're going to start out holding down the 5th fret of the A string. You're going to hit that 6 times, 4 times muting in between, 3rd fret power chord on the E string. Every other time you play that riff, instead of hitting the last part, move up to the 10th fret of the A string and the 12th fret of the G string, bend the G string down and back a full step. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Toxicity by System of a Down. We are going to be in drop C tuning for this one, and you're going to start out with your index finger on the 7th fret of the G string and your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. And you're going to hit G, B back and forth 6 times. Then you're going to take that same shape we have held down, move it up 3 frets, so we're on 10th fret on the G string and 13th fret on the B string 6 times as well. Back to 7 and 10 and hit that one another 3 times. Move your pinky up to the 11th fret of the B string, and then you're going to hit B, G, B. Back down to the 10th fret with your pinky, another B, G, B. Move up to our 10 and 13 position again, where you're going to hit G, B, G. Pinky up to the 15th fret of the B string, hit B, G, B. Back down to the 13th fret of the B string and hit B, G, B again. And then grab the 11th fret with your index finger on the B string. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Ride the Lightning by Metallica. The main riff for this song is pretty straightforward, and it's a ton of fun to play. We are going to be in standard tuning for this track, but if you're trying to play along with the original recording and it sounds a little bit off, that's because Metallica is actually tuned very slightly higher than standard pitch for this one. For the main riff, we are going to start out with a 5th fret power chord on the E string, and then very quickly slide it up to the 6th fret. Then we're going to hit 2 palm muted open E strings. Then we're going to do another slide from the 5th fret to the 6th fret power chords. Make sure when you're hitting these power chords here that you're very slightly lifting your hand off the bridge because you don't want these to be palm muted. And 4 more palm muted open E strings. When this riff first kicks in, you're just going to keep doing this one measure for the entirety of the riff. And then when the main riff kicks back in as the verse riff, it's going to be exactly the same, except for the 4th repeat, you're going to replace the last 2 palm muted open E strings with an 8th fret power chord and then a 7th fret power chord. Altogether, it'll sound like this. is how to play Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. This is definitely one of the most legendary and well-known guitar riffs ever written, and it is pretty fun to play. We are going to be in E-flat standard tuning for this one, and we're going to start out on the 12th fret of the D string with your index finger. You're going to hit that note one time, and then grab the 15th fret on the B string. Then on the G string, we're going to hit 14, 12, 15 on the high E string to 14 on the G string, and then 14 on the high E string. You can roll your ring finger down to grab that one, and then right back to the 14 on the G. You're going to repeat that measure 2 times, and then for the next 2 measures, the riff is going to be exactly the same, except for the first note, instead of being the 12 on the D string, it's going to be 14 on the D string. And then for the next 2 measures, it's also going to be exactly the same, except for the first measure is going to change again to 12 on the G string. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Master of Puppets by Metallica. This song is widely regarded as one of the greatest thrash metal songs of all time, and it's a ton of fun to play. We're going to start the song off with just an open E string power chord. You're going to hit it 1 time and then mute it. Then we're going to move all the way up to the 10th fret power chord. We're going to hit the power chords 10, 9, 8. After that, the actual intro riff is going to kick in, where we're going to hit 0, 0, 12, 0, 0, 11, 0, 0. Keep in mind, anytime you hit an open string in this riff, it's going to be palm muted. Then we're going to hit those power chords 10, 9, 8 again. Open twice, followed by the 7th fret, another 2 opens followed by the 6th fret, and another 2 open E strings. Followed by 5, 0, 4, 0, 3, 0. And then we're going to hit 2 to 1, palm muted. And altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica. We are going to be in standard tuning for this one, but if you're trying to play along with the original recording and it's sounding a little bit off, that's because they're tuned about a quarter step higher than standard tuning on the original recording. For the intro of the riff, we're just going to start with the 2nd fret power chord on the E string. You're going to hit that chord 4 times like this. Make sure after every 2 strums you're going to mute the chord. We don't want it ringing out. Then we're just going to hit an open E string power chord. You want to let that one ring out, and then you're going to hear that iconic bass guitar lick that comes in. But if you're just playing by yourself on the 6-string guitar, we can actually do that bass lick on the guitar. We're going to come to the 7th fret on the G string, and we're going to go 7, 6, 5, 4. 5, 4 on the D string, 7 on the G, 5, 4 on the A. That last 4 is also when the power chords kick back in for the guitar riff. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play The Emptiness Machine by Linkin Park. This is the first song that they've released in quite some time, and I know there's been a little bit of controversy behind it, but let me know how you guys are feeling about it. For the entire main riff, we're going to be using this octave shape rooted on the A string. You're going to start out with the 5th fret on the A string and the 7th fret on the G string. What you want to do is with your index finger here, you want to be muting the D string in the middle, so when you hit that chord, you only hear the A and G strings. We're going to strum this one down, 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 up, down. Then we're going to slide all the way up to the 12th fret here, where we're going to be hitting the same octave shape with the same strumming pattern. Down, 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 up, down. And then we slide down to the 10th fret, where we also do the exact same octave pattern with the same strumming. And then we're on the 8th fret octave shape. We're just going to go down, up, down. And then down, up, down on the 7th fret. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Wherever I May Roam by Metallica. This is one of their most famous tracks, and it's got a lot of really cool riffs. For the main riff, you're going to start it off with just an open E string power chord. Then we're going to do a really percussive palm mute on the E string, followed by a slide up to the 7th fret on the A string, hammer on that 7 to the 8th fret, followed by a trill from 7 to 8. If you guys don't know what a trill is, it's basically just rapid hammer-ons and pull-offs. Then for the second measure, you're just going to hit your open E string once, followed by another palm-muted open E string. Then we're going to hit the 5th fret on the D string one more time and slide up to 7, and then hit the 8th fret on the A. The third measure is going to be exactly the same as the first measure, except for that beginning power chord, we're going to hit a 7th fret A string power chord. We're just going to have power chords on the E string, 5, 6, 7, 8. And all together, it'll sound like this. This is how to play One by Metallica. We're going to start out holding down the 2nd fret on the A string and the 4th fret of the D string. You're going to go A, D, A, open D string. Put that ring finger back down, but you're going to grab the 3rd fret of the E string, and then we're going to go E, D, E, open D. Next section is going to be exactly the same, except for at the end, we're going to add the open G string, the 2nd fret of the A string and 4th fret of the D. We're going to go A, D, A, open D. Just going to hold down 4th fret on the D, open A, D, A, followed by open D string. For the last section, we're going to have 3rd fret on the E, 4th fret on D again, E, D, E, open D. We have a half measure where we hit 0 on the E to 2 on the A, 2 on the E to 2 on the A. All together, it'll sound like this. Fade to Black by Metallica has one of the most legendary intro riffs in all of thrash metal. We are going to start out with a power chord, 2nd fret on the A string, 4 on the D string. While you're holding that down, you're going to pluck the strings A, D, G, D, A, D again. And then with your pinky finger, you're going to grab the 5th fret on the A string, A, D again. Pick your index finger up so we have open on the A string this time, A, D, G, D. A, D again. Grab the 5th fret on the A string, A, D. 3rd measure is exactly the same as the 1st measure. 4th measure, you're going to be barring with your index finger. You're going to hold down on both the D and the G strings. Grab the 4th fret of the A string, A, D, G, D, A, D. Pick up the A string so you have that one open, and then we're going to go A, D again. That's the whole intro riff, and all together it'll sound like this. This is how to play Enter Sandman by Metallica. This intro riff is probably the most famous metal guitar riff there is, but there's a few little nuances to this riff that I've noticed some people are missing out on, and with just a few little tricks, you can have this riff sounding almost exactly like Metallica. First things first, if you're on electric guitar and you've got a pickup selector here, you're going to want to switch it so you're on the neck position. What you want to do when you're starting out with this riff is hold your pinky down on the 7th fret of the A string and your middle finger down on the 5th fret of the D string there. You're going to be holding those notes down the entire time you're playing this riff. Then we're going to start out, you just hit the open E string, 7th fret on the A, 5th fret of the D. Make sure these are all down picked, and then we're going to hit 6th fret on the E string with your ring finger, and then 5th fret on the E string with your pointer finger, and then back to 7th fret on the A string with your pinky. Metallica also uses a chorus effects pedal for this song, so if you have one of those, it'll help you sound more like the recording. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. Tom Morello has a really unique playing style, and it makes his guitar riffs a lot of fun to play. We are going to be in drop D, and for the main riff to this song, you're going to start it out with open A and open E at the same time, like this, followed by a 3 to 5 hammer-on the A string. Then we're going to do 2 muted ghost notes. To get a good mute here, you want to make sure you have multiple fingers laid down on the frets to get a good percussive muted sound. Right after that, we're going to go into a 3 to 4 hammer-on the D string, followed by 5 on the A string. Then you're going to hit the open A and open E again. And we're going to hold down the 2nd fret on the E and the A string and hit that, and then hammer on into the 3rd fret with both of those strings. Then you're just going to hit that 2nd fret on the E and A again. Altogether, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Fuel by Metallica. We're going to be in E-flat tuning for this one, and the first thing you're going to do is come to the 3rd fret of your E string and do a pull-off from 3 to 0. Then you're just gonna hit that open E string again. You're gonna do that pattern again. And then just a 3-0 pull off. And then we're gonna hit an octave shape where we're gonna hold down the 3rd fret on the E string. We're also gonna hold down 5th fret on the D string. I like to do that with my pinky, but you can use your ring finger if you want. The key here is to have your index finger muting the A string. So you just want your index finger lightly touching that A string, not pushing down too hard. And then when you play the chord, you should only hear the E and the D strings. We're gonna hit that one and we're gonna slide up 2 frets with both fingers. So we're on 5 and 7. Then we're gonna hit that chord there on the 5 and 7. Then we're gonna hit it again and slide back down to the 3. Hit that chord again. And then we're gonna hit it one more time and slide back up to the 5th fret. All together, it'll sound like this.
Gimme foo, gimme fi, gimme dabba jabba za. Ooh.
This is how to play Before I Forget by Slipknot. This riff looks pretty simple on paper, but it's deceptively challenging. We're going to be all the way down to drop B tuning for this one, and you're going to come to your low E string, you're going to do a hammer on from 0 to 2, and then you're going to palm mute that open E string. Do those 3 notes again. We're going to slide from 3 down to 2 with another palm muted E at the end. Then you're going to do those first 3 notes again, followed by this little hammer on slide combo. We're going to hammer onto the 3 and then slide down to 2. After we do that riff a few times, it has a little ending to it where we're just going to do a hammer on to 2nd fret 3 times with the palm muted E in between. Then you're going to move up to the 5th fret and hit the E and the A strings 3 times, and then an upstroke on those strings open. Then you're going to keep that same riff going, but for all the non-palm muted notes, you're going to be hitting the E and the A strings. All together, it'll sound like this.
Go.
This is how to play Down with the Sickness by Disturbed. This is definitely one of the most legendary metal riffs from the early 2000s, and I think you guys will have a lot of fun playing it. We are going to be all the way down to drop C sharp tuning for this one, and we're going to start the riff off on the 7th fret of the A string. For this whole part, you're going to be palm muting everything. We're going to go 7-10, 7-8-7. Then you're going to repeat that pattern again, and then just 7-10, 7-8. And then that intro riff loops from there. We're basically going to take that same pattern, but move it up here to the 2nd fret. And for this part, we're going to be doing our drop tune power chords for everything. We're going to be hitting the same fret on both the E and the A strings. Going to start with that 2nd fret. We're just going to go 2, 5, 2, 3, 2. Then you're going to do that one more time. And then we're just going to go 2, 5, 2, 3. And all together, it'll sound like this.
Wow.
This is how to play Sad But True by Metallica. This is arguably one of Metallica's most iconic riffs, but let me know which one you guys want to learn next. We're going to be in D standard or whole step down tuning. Hold down with your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A and the D strings for a power chord like this. Then we're going to hit a mute with the strings. Rest your hands lightly on the strings without fretting any notes, and come in with a palm mute to get this percussive sound. Then we're going to hold down that 2nd fret of the A string and just hit the A and E 2 more times, palm muted. You're going to slide into the 5th fret of the A string, and then you're going to pull off. Then you're going to go to 1 on the A string and do a pull off to 0, and then 3 on the E string, pull off to 0. After you do that measure 3 times, you're going to come in with this ending here where it starts the same, but then we're going to go to the 5 on the A string, do a pull off again, and then hit that 5 again 2 times with a little vibrato at the end. All together, it'll sound like this. This is how to play Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult. This riff just takes one power chord shape and moves it around a little bit, so it's really great if you want to practice your power chords and work on your timing. First thing we're going to do is a 2nd fret power chord on the E string. We're going to do 2nd fret on the E, 4th fret on the A, let it ring out for a beat, and then you're going to mute it. And then we're going to come back in with the 2nd fret power chord on the A string. We're going to go 2 to 4 power chord on the A, and then 4 to 5 on the E string. After that 5, you're going to let it ring out for another beat and mute it. Then we're going to go back to the A string power chord. We're going to go 6, 7, and then 7 on the E string. That one is going to go right back down to our 2nd fret power chord, and the riff starts over again. Altogether, it'll sound like this. How to play Seek and Destroy by Metallica. This is definitely one of Metallica's fan favorite songs, and a lot of you guys have been requesting it, so let's dive into it. For the entirety of this riff, if you're hitting the A string, make sure it's palm muted. So we're going to start with the open A string, we're going to hit it twice, then we're going to go to the G string. We're going to hammer from 7 to 8, and then we're going to hit the 7 again, but this time with a little bit of vibrato. Then we're going to go to open A string again, followed by 7 to 8 hammer on the D string this time. Back to the 7th fret with a little vibrato. Then we're going to go to the A string again, and we're going to go 0, 8, 7, followed by 5 on the D to 7 on the A. Then you're just going to go 5 on the G to 7 on the D. Altogether, that intro riff will sound like this. This is how to play Last Resort by Papa Roach. We are going to be in drop D tuning, and we're going to start the song off with some inverted power chords. To get these, you're just going to take your standard power chord on the 7th fret of the A string and grab the 9th fret on the E string with it as well. You're just going to strum that twice, and then down to 5, down to 3, and then 2 to 5. Then the main riff is going to kick in. We're going to start on the 7th fret of the A string and then move up to 10, 9, 10. Then we're going to grab 9th fret on the D string, followed by 10, 9, 10 on the A string again. Then you're going to do the exact same thing, but instead of starting on that 7th fret A string, we're going to start it off on the 12th fret of the E string. Same thing again, but we're starting with the 10th fret of the E string. And then same thing one more time, but this time with the 9th fret of the E string. Altogether, it'll sound like this.
Suffocation. No breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding.